Okay, so good evening, guys. Welcome back. So we are going to continue with our Jenkins. So today is Jenkins-Day 6 session, and the timing is today is 9. The date is 7th of October 2024, and the timing is 9:05 p.m. IST. Okay, so in yesterday's class, so I think we took our last session on Saturday, right? If I'm not wrong. So Sunday yesterday we didn't had any class. So in our day 5 session, I think we tried to understand about what exactly the build and packaging is all about, right? So we took an example of Java, like whenever we develop any application through Java, so we try to understand, right, how we can uh, compile the Java. I mean, I think we have not seen the example. We'll see today how to compile a Java and all, but we understood that, okay, whenever we are developing a Java, we need a Java to be installed, the Java, as well as what happened, right? You need to have some kind of a binary, you need to have some kind of a dependencies also. So there are a lot of dependencies are there which the Java will require. So you need to somehow install the dependencies also. So that's how. And then later what happened, you need to have some kind of a build server or a build tool. So for the Java to build, actually, like we have a Maven build tool. Earlier we used to use Ant build. Ant was the one which was used earlier, but later what happened, right? Ant has some limitations. So later we got the Maven build tool, and using Maven build tool, we will be able to build the Java project actually, or else all the Java applications. And we had even understand about the dependencies and all, right? Like I think we brought a lot of diagram the last session where we try to understand on the day 5 what else, what are the things which we need. So this is nothing but the packaging. It means that we divided the whole package into two segments, right? So where you need a compilation, it means that always the application will run through binaries only. So it's like programming language, a high level language like Java, .NET or C++, it needs to be compiled, or it need to be built as a package. And then like finally you need to deploy that package. Now once you deploy it, you need to run that code, or you need to run the package. It means you need to have some runtime environment. So Java will give something like a Java runtime environment. Similarly, .NET will give a .NET runtime environment. For C and C++, it doesn't really need any environment, runtime environment. You can directly execute the code actually. So many of the higher level language, what happened? It needs some kind of a runtime environment to execute actually, right? So why again we need a runtime environment? Because whenever we create a binary out of it, basically that code, whatever the raw code which we have written, like in case of Java, if you have written a Java code, the Java code will be converted into the byte code by the compilation process. It means that the Maven build is going to convert into the byte code. Whenever you want to run or execute that byte code, right? Then what happened when it comes to Java? Then what happens? That byte code can be executed only by the runtime environment. So you need a runtime. So Java runtime is there. Through that only it has to get executed. Similarly, what happens whenever you have a .exe or DLL, right? When that has to get executed, you need a runtime actually. For the C and C++, you don't need it, because basically what we do, right? We already convert the code, whatever you have written C and C++ into machine understandable language or assembly level language. So assembly level language can be directly get executed. You can directly execute. You don't need any special no runtime environment to execute those codes actually, right? So that's the reason I didn't talk about the runtime and all. Maybe today, or else maybe in the next class, I will talk something about the runtime, how exactly the runtime will allow to execute that byte code into the machine understandable, how it executes the code and all. I will little bit go in detail about how it executes. Just few minutes, like 10-15 minutes, I'll discuss on that, so that we'll get some clear picture about how exactly Java code is getting executed by the machine, right? How it get executed, that we will see. It applicable even for the .NET also. C and C++, if you want, I will show you a small example of how to write a C program or C++ and how to compile and execute it. We will see that also. Maybe not today. In tomorrow's session, I will show that. Okay, but today is something like we will be majorly covering many of the things. So apart from this, I think I also discuss about the, like, when we have a code, say for example, whenever we have a code which is in a higher level language, say Java is there or .NET is there, right? Always there is a dependencies, right? So the dependency is something like where the dependency either could be open source, either it could be open source, or either it could be developed internally by the developer only. And this codes the open source reusable library, or else internally, these are nothing but the repositories or libraries. So these are stored externally in some location. So you might have a centralized repository which has been managed within your company, where all the developers, whoever write the library or whoever write the repo, that will be placed. So whenever what happened, whenever whichever teams they need that particular library or that particular repo, they can download internally within the organization. So that we called something like a centralized repository. Remote repository is something which is available over the internet. So whenever you want to download any kind of open source library or open source dependency, then what happened, right? Your Java can actually connect, means your runtime can actually connect to an external source which is outside the internet, and which is in the internet, and then you can download it. So that comes under the open source category. So in many organizations, what happened that we are also dependent upon many of the libraries which are externally, which are there over the internet. Say for example, Spring Boot framework. It is there. Django framework. It is there in the internet. It's available in the internet. Either you can have a local copy within your centralized repository inside your company, or else always you can always download from the over the internet, and you can do it. To download, I know, to download all dependencies, we also discussed that we have some kind of a dependency tools are there, right? Every language has its own dependency tool, has its own tool which will resolve all these dependencies. So for Java, we have a Maven and Gradle. For JavaScript or Node.js, we have npm yarn, and for .NET, you have a Nugget. I think this is what pretty much we had discussed in our last session, right? Is there anything is there? Oh, okay. Yeah, unit test is also there. So we also discussed about the unit test also, right? Like, for example, during the compilation, what happened, right? The unit test case is a code which is actually written by the developer, right? So whenever a developer writes a code, he will also write the unit test case also, right? So whenever the developer writes the code means, say for example, he writes the Java code, right? To test this Java code, to test the code, or to test the Java code, he need to write the unit tests actually. So unit test basically, it's a piece of code which is written by the same developer to test the main application. So whatever the application, say for example, you have written a main.java application, that's a name. Whenever you see .java as an extension, you can understand that it's a source file actually, right? It's a source file. So it means that is actually your program which the developer writes. So always in the Java, it will be Java as an extension. Similarly, in the C file, always it will be C, C++ .cpp, C++ we say, right? So like that, what happened, right? For the Node.js, I think .js is the extension. So every language, whenever we use it, we will always give an extension for a human understanding. For the Java, it is .java only, right? So now, so what happened, right? When the developer writes a lot of codes, they tend to write even the unit test case also. They have to write the unit test cases also. So what the unit test cases will do, that the unit test cases basically it has to verify, or it has to test the code, whatever the code was the developer has written, right? So it has to test whether this code is working fine or not, right? So it means that, say for example, if a developer writes a code, Java code, say for example, he writes some 100 lines of code, right? So what the same developer has to do, that he has to write a unit test, say for example, something like test underscore something main.java. He will write this code actually. This will be called as a unit test actually. Okay. And what he will do, that basically he will write the code in such a way that it verifies all these 100 lines of code. It's not like debugging. It's something like it is something like we call it as a code coverage. Code coverage is something like, where he's going to test it, whatever the functionality which he has written in the main.java, right? Whether that function is working properly or not, or whatever the parameter or whatever the value you are passing, whether those values are right or not, or how many number of parameter you are passing. So to validate it, whatever the parameter you pass to a function, to validate it, whether that function is working properly or not, you will write a unit test case actually. So many times what happened, right? The developer writes the writes program. He will write some n number of lines of program, say like 100 lines. He might be using a lot of conditions also in his applications. Conditions. He'll also be using something like a loops. right? He'll also be using something like a variables. We know that these are something like a programming constructs we always use in our program, right? Whether it could be a Python, it could be Java, it could be C or C++, anything. We always write the program and we use all these programming constructs in our program, right? Say, for example, whenever we want to define any variables, right, in Java, we write one file by name variables.java, like that. And then what you will do that you will open the code and you will tend to add all the variables here actually. All the variables you will be writing in this single file. So this is like a convention. Usually when a developer writes it, they will make sure that they will keep one file only to manage only the variables. So whatever the value you want to change in the variables and all, you can go to this file and you can do the changes actually. So in one location, you will get all those variables types which have been defined, right? And in the main.java, what happened? Right? This is the main core program where you will be writing your whole program logic. You will be writing it. Now the thing is that once you write it down, usually what happened? Right? Every company, whenever they develop any application or whenever they're following, whenever they're writing any application, they have to follow certain rules or they have to follow some standards actually, right? Say, for example, if you join any company, say if you're joining to a company, but a visa company, if you're joining a visa company, what happens? There are a lot of Java developers out there. Now, what will happen, right? They will always tend to have a rule. Whenever you work as a developer, they will say that, okay, when you try to write any program in the Java, actually, what they said that actually, okay, you need to always define any function in your Java, means you have to always say def. Say, for example, I'm writing an application where I'm writing a function, something like ordering management. O should always be capital, the starting, and all others should be small. And you have to always mention hyphen, and then always the next word which should always again it should start with the capital. So ordering management, something like this. They will write this function name like this. Yeah. This one we can add. Clear? So guys, I would request all of to mute it whenever you join the session. Thank you. Yeah. So when you write, this is something like a function which you are writing. You are defining a function actually, right? And here you can pass all the parameters and all. That is okay. But what I'm trying to tell that they follow certain standard actually, and you need to always oblige with that standard only. You cannot write the way you want actually, right? So there's a documentation on that. There's a format on that. You need to always follow the format actually. Now the thing is that actually when you start writing a program, when you start following all kind of a formats or something like a rules, whatever they set it for writing your program, right? You follow it and you tend to write the whole program. Once you write the whole program, it could be 100 lines, it could be 1,000 lines, whatever might be. You need to write a test case for that, a unit test case to verify or the test the program, whole program. Now, what the test case will be there, right? Actually, the test case is going to verify everything. It's going to even verify the variables. Okay, it's going to verify the number of lines what you've written. It will going to verify what kind of a condition you have used. It will also verify what kind of a loops you're using, right? Say, for example, if your loop, you have used some looping, say, for example, for loop, and your for loop for certain condition or for certain code, you have calling the for loop for 100 times. So what your unit test case has to do, it has to even verify also like how many number of times the for loop is getting executed. So now the thing is that actually, guys, whenever you write a program, you need to follow some standard. You need to even see that whatever the code which you are writing or the main file a developer is writing, right? There has to be some unit test actually which has to verify everything. Say, for example, you are having a variable.java where you are defining a lot of variables. Now the thing is that actually you use some variable and you define some variable and think that you are not using that variable in your main.java or you are not at all using that variable at all. Then there is a wastage of that variable. So what is use of you are defining a variable which you are not at all using in your program, right? So it means that when you use some variable or when you define a variable in variable.java, during the compilation process, what happened, right? That variable also needs certain things. It needs a memory. It needs some allocation, right? It has to have it has to verify like what exactly this variable is all about, what type of variable it is, what value it is storing it. Suppose you are defining a variable and you are also passing some value also. Somewhere in the storage it has been defined. Somewhere when during the compilation, even that is also getting computed. It means that there is some definite storage is allocated for that variable, and what are the value you provide for that variable, right? That also will be stored in some memory area. So in the back end, you are trying to do so many computation because that this variable will be used in your main program. But in case, suppose in case you have defined it, but you're not using it, and that is also a kind of a wastage, you can say, or something like it is a bad way of programming. So it means that whenever you are defining any variables in variables of Java, you should always make sure that you are using in your main program. Right? You cannot unnecessarily use some define many variables, and if you're not using it, that is a very bad way of writing the code actually. So there are many, what I can say, there are many rules are there which you need to follow it, which developer follows when they write the program. And unit test case, always what happened, right? Whenever you write a unit test case, we always stress on saying that how many number of lines of code has been covered by this unit test cases actually. Whether it has covered all the things, whether it has covered all the positive scenarios, negative scenarios, right? Something out of boundary scenario, something they say that actually that you need to make sure that 95% of the code is covered by your unit test case. It means that if you written 100 lines of code, Java code, if you written 100 lines of code, right? And if your unit test case is just verifying only 50 lines of code, it means that out of 100, it is your unit test, whatever the unit test you have written, right? If it is only if it is only verifying 50 lines of code, it means that this is not a correct unit test case. It's not sufficing all the needs. Then what happened? Straight away we will reject it. Actually, we will reject that build. It means that it is not completely verifying all the lines of code in your program. Suppose if the same unit test case, if it is verifying some 90% of the code or 90 lines, 90 lines or 95 lines of the code, if it is verifying, is verified by unit tests, then you will consider that as a passed. It means that actually, okay, at least some 95% or 95 lines are being covered by the unit test case. It means that we will say that okay, this unit test case is perfectly working fine. It is actually verifying most of the lines of the code. So sometime what happened? Yeah, you will keep that as a mark. Usually in the industry, what happened, right? In standard, what happened, right? They'll always keep 90% of the code coverage. If your unit test case is covering 90% of your code coverage as part of the unit test execution, then we will consider that as a proper unit test case. If it is going below 90%, then we will not consider that. Okay. So that developer has to take care of all such scenarios. Who will verify it actually? Internally within the developer team, they will verify the unit test case, or else there are many tools are there. With that help of a tool also, they will do that such kind of a verification, whether whatever the code coverage you want to do, whether all the code coverage is being taken care by your unit test cases. So in this case, guys, when it comes to unit test cases, we are not really not like worried. We are not aware about like how much percent of the code is covered or not. It is all internally being taken care by the developer team, as well as what happens. There's a tool is there which will give you the result of saying that how much percent of the code has been covered by that unit test case. It will give you the result. With that, what happened? We will set a benchmark saying that okay, 90% of the no, when you run the tool, 90% we need to get minimum 90% is the code coverage. We need to get that report. If it is below 90%, say 89% or 89.999%, we are getting that as an output. We will straight away reject that build actually or the commit. Is it fine? So now that is the thing which we always follow, and the unit test case are part of the code itself. It means that when a developer is writing a code, he will also add this unit test cases also. It means that when he gives the code to you, okay, to the DevOps and saying that, okay, you build this code, the unit test also comes along with that. It means that in the source code itself, the unit test cases are also available. Both he has to write. And again, the same thing, right? If somebody asks you, Rajesh, I have not written any unit test cases, only the code or the logic code is there. Is it acceptable? No, it is not acceptable. Vinod, everyone, please mute, sir. Mute yourself. Yeah. Is it fine, guys? Still here? Anything is there? Any questions you have so far? Okay. Mahesh, sir, do you want to add anything?
Sir,
Yes,
uh,
bro.
who will be decide this code is Absolutely.
That's what it is internally done. There's a tool is also there. They use that tool. That's what I told you, right? These tools are there, right? N tool is there for .NET. N tool is there. Harness tool is there. J tool is there. This with this help of this tool also they will verify it. See,
Okay.
it depends what happened when I will show you later. Like suppose I'm writing Python code. I will write a unit test case for Python. I will show you now how you can do a code coverage. A simple way I will show so that you'll get one glimpse idea you will get. Later, there are many other things. That's what reason what happened, right? When it comes to unit test case, what happened, we will not be able to judge out. A DevOps engineer will not be able to judge out. Because again, you are what you're doing, you are actually you are testing the code itself, what has been there written by the developer. Testing the code itself is nothing but unit test actually. First of all, we don't understand the code itself, main.java or the whole program, whatever the developer write. First of all, we are not bothered or we are not interested in that. On top of it, whatever the unit test is, right, why we need to bother our head? We are not bothered. Our thing is that actually that whenever the unit test case is getting executed, whenever we are getting with one of the tool known as the static code analysis, when we get the result saying that 90% we are set as benchmark, or whenever our quality gets checks are giving a result that okay, the unit test case is getting passed and it is doing a code coverage or 90 or 95%, right? Then we will certify that build. So these all are set marked by the architects actually. The DevOps, the developers architect, they'll set mark all these things. Is it fine, Baban?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Any question, Ganesh Chakravarti, Dhanendra? Yeah, okay. Ujjwal sir, any question you have?
Sir,
No, no, all okay.
this for Java code, developer team will be compile that code and put in repository.
See, now what happened? It's a good question. Now, whenever the developer write the code, right, they will always write the code in their local system or in their local environment or in their local laptop. So they have the laptop or they have a machine, they have a server where they will start writing the code actually. Start writing the code. After that, what happened, right? To make sure that the code has to get compiled or it has to. So what happened, right? They will try to build. They will install even the build server also, or they will install the build environment in the same machine, or it could be in a different machine, right? And then what happened, right? They will try to compile the code, or they'll try to build a package. So this is something like very initially they will do like that to verify what are the code they are writing, whether it is working fine or not, or whether it is getting compiled or not, right? Later, what happened, right? They will write a unit test also, and they'll also verify the unit test case execution. Now, with that, what happened? They will certify saying that, okay, I have written some 100 lines of code. My unit test case is actually covering 90 or 95 lines of code. It is covering, right? It is covering means it is verifying it is covering. Then what happened, right? I will think that, okay, it is working fine. Then the developer will raise a PR. They will try to run everything in the own tool, harness tool. They'll do it. It will also give the result. They'll also raise a PR, right? Pull request, and they will call all the senior developers or architects. They'll call. They'll also verify all the codes. Finally, they will say, okay, fine, Bhavan, you have written very well. This looks good to me. Now you do that. You don't think after you write the whole code, right? Now you push this code into your GitHub repository like this. So this is a whole code. The whole code will be there in a GitHub repository. The whole Java code will be written in the, it will be there in the GitHub repository. Now this will be given. So we will be given a GitHub URL. A URL will be given to us actually, or else we will be provided a repo information. Okay, anyhow, you know about our GitHub, right? You have our GitHub account. GitHub account. Okay, GitHub account. Under that, he will say that under that there is a one project is there by name ordering. Under that you have one version, no, the 1 2.0. Under that all your code is placed here. Like that he will say. So you'll get the path information or you'll get the project details information about what are the developer is written, where exactly in GitHub, in which project he is keeping all the details. So you will go there. What you will do that you will try to clone this, try to clone or try to copy into a local environment or into your Jenkins server. So Jenkins server, you know very well that where we'll be writing our pipelines, right? There you will try to download it. And finally, what happened? You even whatever he is doing the build process, the same build process even you are also doing. Why we are doing it? Because we need to verify whether the build is compiling fine or not, whether unit test cases are getting executed or not, whether the static code analysis, all those checks are done or not. We will verify it, and finally what happened, if everything works fine, then we will do a deployment. Deployments, we will take one environment. Say, for example, we'll take a test environment, and we will go and we'll deploy that code into the test environment server. And once the deployment is done, we will verify whether deployment is working fine or not, whether whatever we have deployed, it has been deployed properly or not. We will do some checks actually. And what happened later, if you want to call any kind of a sanities, that we call it as a Selenium code sanity, or whatever the Selenium code which has been done, we will call that sanity test, and that sanity test will verify that application which has been deployed into the test environment. And finally, if we get a pass, we'll say, okay, this deployment is whatever this application which the developer has given, that has been deployed properly into test environment. Now you will tell to the tester that now you can go and verify, or you can do any kind of a testing activity. So this is something like what we are initially doing, that we are taking a build, we are taking a code, we are writing a pipeline so that it does an initial of doing building, cloning, copying it, doing the build activity or creating a package. And as part of building a package, it will execute the unit test cases and everything. It will try to run the static code analysis, right? If you want to incorporate any kind of a security checks, you can even incorporate security checks in the pipeline. Later, once everything is passed, once you get the report actually, right? That report also you have to share to the developer saying that the build has been done actually, and we got a positive response from the reports. We will share that, and finally we will take that artifactory. We say whatever the result of the build, right? You will get an artifactory that we are going to discuss later. That artifactory, what you will do, that you will save that artifactory into any one of the artifactory tool. Either it could be Nexus artifactory or JFrog artifactory. Later, what happened? You're going to pull the same artifactory, which is nothing but the jar or var or ERR, and you will go and you will deploy into a target server. To deploy it, you might choose either Ansible server to deploy it. Or else you want to do further, like you want to create a Docker container, you can call it Docker, you can write a Docker file, you can create a image out of it along with that artifactory, and then like you can deploy into your any of the containerization tool actually. Right. So that is a process actually. It's a very high level process I'm saying. Very simple and high level I'm saying it. Is it fine, Baban? So
Yes,
it means
yes.
that once the code is tested by the developer, once he is satisfied, once he verifies, where he verifies every time, where he verifies, he'll always verify in his dev environment, development environment. Where he does it, he will does all those testing and everything in his developer environment. We call it the dev environment. Now you might ask a question, Rajesh, is the dev environment is built by the DevOps, or the developer itself will build this environment? Sometime what happens, the developer itself will take care of building this dev environment. And nowadays what is happening is that even the DevOps engineer, whenever a fresh new project is getting started, right? At that time what happened, even the dev environment also has to be set up by the DevOps engineer only. Earlier, what happened? First, DevOps engineer, developers will set his own DevOps engineer, dev environment. He will do all kind of write all the code, test everything. He will do everything. Finally, he will certify saying that, oh, in my dev environment, things are working fine. Now I have pushed that code into the gate. Now you take care of the code, and you rest of the things, whatever you want to do, do it. It whether I want to verify it, I want to test it, and I want to deploy into the test environment. I want to deploy into the SIT environment. I want to deploy into the stage environment, or else what we call the UAT environment. And finally, you want to build and deploy to the prod environment. You do whatever you want, right? So that process, the other next process, the DevOps engineer has to take care of. Is it clear?
Yes, yes.
Thank you. Yeah. Fine. Yeah. So now, guys, I think I've took too much of time because I need to cover a lot. A small request from you all. If I take little late also today, please try to stay around and allow me to complete the whole thing, whatever I thought, because I thought I will cover many things today, but already we have 20 minutes has gone only on discussing this. Fine. Okay. That's fine. So now, so, right, guys. So as I said earlier, like we need to verify always, and this whatever we are doing as a part of the unit test, right? Even we call this as a white box testing. So white box testing is actually taken care by the developer. Developer has to run the unit test case and verify whether everything is working fine. That because of white box testing. And the black box testing. black box testing is something like where the tester engineer does it actually. So once the piece of code is given by the developer, right? This is the piece of code which the developer has given into the GitHub repository. So what we have to do is we need to deploy the same code into some test environment, right? So it means that we need an infrastructure, we need an environment so that the code can be deployed into the test environment, test servers, and finally it has to be tested. So setting up the whole environment, creation of the server means creating the servers. It means that you need to create a server. It means that you have to launch the server. You have to launch the server, all right? And after that, you need to create a build environment in that server. Build environments, basically you need to create or build a package out of it, right? And then like finally means it is nothing but creating a package out of it, and then like installing the package. It means that before you install the package, that package or the code might require some dependency. It might require some other software stack. So you need to even install the software stack, whatever the extra software stack is required, and finally you need to deploy that package. We deploy the build package. Whatever the build package you got, right? You need to deploy the package. So once you do all this process, it means that you are actually setting up the environment. It means that, say, for example, you're doing for the test environment. So you are creating a test server environment like this. Test environment you're setting it actually. Like how Dev has created a Dev environment. Same thing, we have created a test environment. So this is a test environment in that you will have some server where we call it the test servers, where once you deployed everything, finally you will hand over to the testing engineer. So what the testing engineer do? The testing engineer will do a black box testing. So they will apply a lot of testing strategies. Like for example, they might do something like a basic testing, operation testing, right? There are many testing strategies are there which they follow it. They'll also do a stress testing, and after that they also do something like a load testing, right? Some security testing they will do. There are a lot of testing strategies are there which they do it. How they do it? They'll not do it manually. They will adopt some kind of an automation. Suppose it's a web application which we are working on. Assume that we are working on some e-commerce based application where we have written Java. We have chosen Java as an application language to write it down. So what the testing engineer do, that he will follow the right to everything to implement in through the Selenium. Actually, Selenium is one of the test suite test suite framework. So using Selenium, what happened? It can verify, it can test various different testing aspects for any kind of a web applications. So, right, web application, whenever you want to test it, Selenium is the best which they use. Earlier, we used to use something like QTP, if you have heard or not. Very old, a long time, right? Like 10, 15 years back, we used to have a tool by name QTP. QTP was used actually. Later, what happened? QTP was replaced by Selenium. And for the Selenium, whoever the engineers, they need to have a knowledge on Java and JavaScript. Java means not like a very basic Java. You need to have a knowledge on core Java. Core Java knowledge is required. Plus, they need to have a knowledge on JavaScript, and also they need to have a knowledge on Selenium also, Selenium framework. So all this information or knowledge is required by the testing engineer to write a Selenium test cases, because all the Selenium test cases again written in the Java, core Java and JavaScript only. So what they will do, right, as part of testing activity, whatever the basic testing, operation testing, stress testing, load testing, or security, whatever they want to do, they will all do everything with the help of the Selenium test cases which they have written. When all those test cases are getting passed, it means that there are no failures, not showstoppers, or not much failures are getting, then only the tester will certify saying that whatever the code which the developer has written, this code has written, right, main.java or whatever the application the developer has written, it is meeting the requirements, or it is meeting the customer's requirement. Yeah, when it is meeting the customer requirement, now the tester will certify saying that, okay, this test code can be deployed into the production environment. Now we can push that code. So with the confirmation of the developer, with the testing engineer, right, with the DevOps engineer, then only the code will be finally pushed to the production environment. Otherwise, if the testers say that no, we can't push it, this is not meeting it, or else there are a lot of showstoppers issues are there. There are a lot of critical bugs are there. Without solving this, we cannot push the code like that. If the developer or that developer lead, if he gives such kind of input, then what happens? There has to be a rework has to be done by the developer. We have to rework it. So all these three teams, right? The DevOps, developers, and the testing engineers, we all work together in an agile process. Where in agile process, we need to follow certain like certain process we need to follow, so that actually on a day-to-day activity we will give an updates over the scrum meetings and over the scrum stand-up calls, where we'll give all our the daily inputs we'll give, and we'll also give the progress on the project also, how far we are progressing the project. So in future, in another few days, what I will do, that I will take some few sessions only on about the agile process, and how exactly we understand how the agile process work, and why exactly the agile process is used by most of the organization, and what kind of a benefit you are going to get, and what kind of a models you have in agile process. All such things we will discuss in some time, even though it's not part of it. But still, what happened, as being a DevOps engineer, right? We should also follow a process. We follow the process. Actually, we have to follow a process. We are bound to be in process. Actually, we are bound to work in a process only. If you go to any organization, like, you will be working on a process actually. So obviously, you have to understand at least one process, and agile is the best process to understand, right? So if you go for interview, this is a very common question we'll ask. Okay, what is the process you're following in your company? I mean, in your team, which process you follow? You say that straight away, we follow the agile process. That's all you have to say. You will not ask any other question after that, actually. But you have to say that, yeah, we have been working on agile process. Okay, then some people crazy people might ask, well, okay, what agile means? Like, how many number of days you're releasing the builds, new builds actually, right? When how many days it takes? You can say once in 2 weeks or once in a month. Actually, we are releasing. We are actually doing a release into the production actually. So when usually happen? Does it happen in a weekend? Yeah, it happens usually in the weekend. So Saturday or Sunday is a time actually we keep it, and because our agile process is a 1 month sprint. So every month, at the end of the sprint, right, we will do all the all the activities, all testing, all coding, all DevOps works, all development, everything happens. Finally, we'll push the code. I mean, after completing all the tests, actually, one weekend we will try to push it, and we will notify to our customers saying that, okay, these are the new added features, and we will also create a document on that, or all kind of a document, manual paste and everything, and we will try to upload into one of our website, which is a Redwood. That Redwood links and all are already been shared by the developers. They'll try to download all kind of those files and all, or they'll try to download all those kind of articles what we have written, what the kind of new features which have added, and how to use that. Everything we will write in that document actually. So that is the documentation part. Again, sometime what happened? Who will be writing the documentation in when it comes to adding any new feature and all? It could be anyone. Sometimes the documentation also can come to the hands of developer, DevOps engineer. Sometimes DevOps will be instructed to write a documentation on that. So you should be ready to even to write a document also, right? Most of the majority of the industry, what the developer only will write a document and whatever he is developing. But in some other organization, what happened, developers will be too busy in doing many tasks. He might not able to write the document. Hence what happened, that work will go to the DevOps engineer. So now the DevOps engineer, when he's following an agile process, in agile process, he will be given a task to even do that documentation part, but he need to always keep consulting every day with the DevOps developers, how he is writing about that documentation. Because there is a pattern for writing a documentation, guys. You need to follow the pattern, and then like you need to you need to write the documentation. I was lucky enough, when I was working at Lumen company, I was working on a HP company. I got an opportunity to work on even on that also, where I wrote a lot of good documentation, and a lot of our managers, right, they praised me for writing a lot of good documentation. So sometime what happened, right, your whole year, right, in your whole year, suppose I'm working for this 2024, sometimes you are not did any good thing in the whole year. You write a very good documentation, and that itself will be will be called as a very good work actually. So your manager will praise you. Oh man, this year, no, you did very good work by doing a lot of good documentation. The documentation helped a lot to all stakeholders. It developed. It also helped even to our internal also. It had developed like that. So that was a feedback which my manager gave. I don't know. I mean, why he praised me, because I think on that year I didn't do anything much work. No, to praise me, to give me something like that, he did like that, I think. So documentation, as I said, right, it is also one of the important part. So guys, whatever I discussed, was it useful for you, or how is it actually? Or is it something boring, which I told?
It's good.
It's exciting. Not boring.
Okay, boring.
I said. Not boring, I said.
Okay. I only heard the last word boring. Something like fine. Yeah, man. Actually, this is to be very honest, it is boring only. But what happened? No, we can't do anything because if you are working in an industry, right, we should know some process actually. Some companies use some different processes, and nowadays, like 95% of the companies they use agile process only. Some companies might use some Kanban process or something, and all they use it, but that is fine. But ultimately, more or less, all are same only. Almost like they come to the same point. Okay, now good. So we discuss something, guys, today, and what we are going to do as part of our discussing our as part of showing you about the small information about the unit test case and all. Let me do one thing. Let me suppose, for example, if there's a Python program is there, right? I have written a Python program, so I need to write a unit test case for that unit tests. So we know very well that whenever you write a Python code, say for example, I'm writing a main.py as a Python code. That's the file which I'm writing. And I need to verify the unit test actually. I need to write a unit test file also. Unit test file also have to write. Say for example, I will write up with the name something like a test underscore. What is it? Test underscore, same file name, test underscore main.py underscore main.py. This is what the unit test file which will be. This is the unit test file, right? Which will be writing. So how to verify, how to write it, and how to check it. So to verify, to check it, you remember there is a hardness tool by name PyTest. If you remember, there is a PyTest is there. Can you see? For a Python harness tool, right? So for doing all kind of unit test activity for Python, there is a unit test. There's a tool by name PyTest is there. Similar for Java, there's a JUnit is there. For similar for .NET, there's a NUnit is there. So let us use this PyTest tool to verify what are the Python code which you are writing, right? How much unit test case, whether the unit test case is executed or not. We are going to verify, we will check it out actually, right? So for that, what we will do that, we will try to go into our AWS account. I'll sign in, right? And let me go to the oh man, it is so slow. So okay, let me log into server. I need one Linux server, guys. That's all for you to show this, right? Later, we'll use the same server for doing some other purpose also. So let me launch a new instance. I will just write something like a Linux server, and then like let me choose the Ubuntu itself. Okay, and then like come down. So I've chosen Ubuntu and Ubuntu 24.04. Let me use the same t2.macro. I don't need any other server. I will choose this Jenkins.ppk file. Edit. Uh, See, I know to really give always, because if you don't give any subnet, it will take its own preference. I know to really give you. I have to only have the VPC under which VPC I'm creating. Here, if you are giving no preference, it means that any of the availability zone it will take and it will try to assign as a subnet. But if you want to choose any particular, you can choose. You can go and choose it like that. But always it is not necessity that I have to expand this bar and then I have to always give subnet. If it is no preference, means automatically whichever available zone under zone, whichever available zone is there, right? There it is going to go and pick that as a subnet, right? Now come over here and then like select your existing group. So let me go and let me go with this default. And I don't want to do any other thing. So just say launch the instance. So I know that we have been seeing this from many days, all these things, right? Yeah, let this comes up. So guys, I would request you to stay up to 11 today or even beyond 11 also, right? Because let me try to complete certain things so that in our upcoming sessions, right? Otherwise, it will be keep pending for the next session. It will, no, I'll be, have to, it will be keep pending. So it is my personal request that stay up to this, up to I finish whatever I want to finish today. Is it fine with everyone? Chakravarti, Ganesh?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Because in the next class, right, I have to deep dive into the Maven. Today I'll be starting with the introduction to the Maven, but next class tomorrow I have to deep dive into the Maven. 2 sessions I will take only on Maven only, so that you will get a very hard understanding of how exactly Maven internally works. That we need to know. And then like why I'm doing like this, because guys, actually in interview I personally have faced that they're asking too many questions on Maven itself. And if you have all solid answers with us, and I mean we have all kind of answers, then I think one of the thing, a very important thing is actually that let it come up. Let me log in. While that I'll be even speaking also. So let me copy the public IP, and I will do one thing. I'll go to my here. I think batch 01. I have this put.exe. So what I was trying to say, guys, actually that when you try to attend any interview, what will happen that basically, right? Sometimes the interviewer might start asking a questions onto the Jenkins itself, because the requirement is more on Jenkins, right? So when you try to give an interview, when if you are trying to give an interview, right, at the time what happens, they will ask too much in depth in Jenkins, because the primary requirement for their team or for their companies on more onto the CI/CD pipeline. Either it could be Jenkins, or either it could be GitLab or GitHub Actions or Azure DevOps, anything. So they might put the requirement that they need only on GitLab, or they need only on that. So what will happen that they will ask you. So at the very beginning itself, what is happening that you need to make sure that you are answering all such questions on the pipeline part. So in that, what happened, right? They'll be more interested even to know about like how much this fellow know about the build servers, or about the Maven build tool, or about the Gradle, about the Jenkins working, about the GitLab working, how it works, how he has written a pipeline, how he has written all kind of pipelines, what kind of a real-time issue he has faced. These are certain things which he will be looking from you actually. So that is some. So what he will do that he will start asking you very basic question. He'll start asking you. He'll not go with the very complex things. He will ask you, okay, what is a snapshot in Maven? Can you tell me where you use snapshot? What is the requirement of snapshot? What is a snapshot version? Difference between snapshot and the release? That's a very basic question. If you're not answering such basic question also, then what happened? He will feel like, okay, this fellow doesn't know. So you'll get a very wrong image about you, and then like you will not be able to do it actually. Right. So guys, so now I'm sorry, I have launched this server, guys, and I have just executed this sudo apt update. This is the first command which updated the package. Later what happened, I'm just verifying whether Python is installed or not in my system. So nowadays you could see that Python by default comes with the latest version, whatever the 3.12 or 3.7 or 3.12 is there, right? The latest Python is already coming. You need not to really install the Python again. So Python version 3 is already there in your system actually. So what I have to do means, as part of it, let me write a simple Python program, a very simple Python. Before that, let me just create one directory Python. I'll just a demo, get into this Python demo folder, and I'll just say main.py Python, right? What I will do is I will just redefine a simple function, define add a comma b. Okay, I'm just creating a function name add, and then like I will just say return a plus b. Simple code, right? This is a small function which I've written. This is my program, Python program which I've written. So now you will say that Rajesh developer has written this function, which is nothing but the main dot under the main.py. He's written a small function actually. Now what you are going to do, you need to write a unit test case. So to write a unit test case, what you will do, I'll just write a vi test underscore main.py. I will write this with this name actually. Right? I will write with this name. Now what will happen that since this is nothing but your main program, what I will do that main.py, right? I'll open it. I'll just say import main, or from main, sorry, not import, from main, import, what is that function name? Add, right? And then like I will write a definition, define, I need to test the add function. I'll just test underscore add, right? So guys, what you have to do means whenever you want to verify or whenever you want to test it, right? So what your function is doing, main.py. So it's simple. What it is doing that this is the function, and this is what the return. It is returning a plus b. Whatever the value you pass as a parameter for this for this add function, the return will give you the summation of it actually, right? So if you're passing 1 and 2, it will return as a 3 value. This is a simple thing which this function is doing. So to verify it, I'm writing a unit test case, and that unit test case is test underscore main.py. Here what is happening is that in this file, what happened, right? I have just defined a function. Now what I will do that I will just call an assert function. Assert means you're verifying, testing it. So you have to call the add function, and if you're passing 0, you are going to get the value as 0 only. So it means that you are just saying assert assert add 0 comma 0, it will return 0. Fine. One more assert I will add, assert add suppose assume that I'm passing 1 comma 2, then you have to get the value 3. So this is a very simple basic unit test case for Python which I'm writing to verify it actually, right? So now I will save this file. So in your Python demo, you have both this file main.py and test underscore main. Main.py is a main program. Test underscore main.py is nothing but a unit test case. To verify the unit test case, actually, what happened? You need to install the PyTest. So if you run the PyTest, I think that PyTest is not there. He's clearly saying that you need to run this package. You need to install this package. Sudo apt install python 3-ptest. Either you can directly do like this. You can install like this, or else you can even install through the pip package, pip package. You have to install it. Pip install like this. Pip install PyTest. If you run like this, that will also install it. But right now, I'm not going with the pip. Okay, because usually we have to always install any kind of a dependencies nowadays to the pip only. So pip is an internal tool for the Python, which is used for resolving all kind of dependencies. We know that, right? So we need to in the real time in the organization we'll use the pip only to do it. But right now here I'm not doing the pip. I'm just generally installing through the package itself actually. So let me do one thing. Let me go and install this package. Sudo apt install python test -y and enter. So you are installing the PyTest. Right? And now what you're doing is you're just running a command PyTest and enter. Can you see here, guys? This PyTest, it is calling this test underscore py, and you could see that it is showing you that 100% it has did a code coverage and it has passed it actually. Right? It is passed actually. Say for example, you have this file main.py. So main.py. And mistakenly you have just added as a -1. I'm saying mistakenly. Okay, you added -1 in the code. So developer has mistakenly added this line, a -1 he has added, and now you have saved the file. Now again you run a PyTest. So when you run this PyTest, it will show the result. It is failing actually. So why it is failing? He's saying that it has asserted a 0, 0. Okay, but in the condition return a plus b -1. So a plus b -1 is 0 plus 0, 0. -1 is -1 is equal to 0? No, right? Here it is condition is failing. So where -1 is equal to add a 0, it's saying that, oh, okay, it means that you will understand, the developer understand that I'm doing some mistake in my code. That's the reason what happened. My unit test case has got failed. So what he will do that he will realize that there is some mistake in my main program. He will go here. He will try to verify. Oh, he'll understand. Okay, this is something wrongly added. So he'll remove this. And then again, what happened? He will save this file. And what will happen? He will run again the PyTest. Now it will pass. Clear? In upcoming session, I will show you about, suppose I write a Java code, how to write a unit test case for the Java code, how to run it, and make sure that the unit test case has passed. I will show that example also. Right? Now, what happened, guys? Now, this is fair enough. Now, assume that tomorrow, if a developer goes and write, he will add some more instruction in the same file under the main.py. Like, let it be something like, he will add one condition. If something a is less than 0 or b is less than 0, then what happened that you need to say return -1. You have to say if either a value, if any one of this value a or b, if you're passing less than 0, then what happened? It should always return -1. If it is not 0, then it has to return a plus b. It means it has to return a summation. Right. So this is some extra line of condition which I have. This is not but condition. If condition you added into the main.py. Now what I will do that I'm going to save this file. And what happened? There is you have this main test underscore main.py is there, right? But this is what the assert I'm doing. But still, what happened? I will just try to run the PyTest. It will pass it. It will pass it, no doubt. But in this case, what is happening is that, guys, when we try to run a py test, py test we are running. It is executing, it is giving you the pass as a result, saying that it has been passed. But do you think that does your unit tester, has it covered even testing even this condition? No, it has not tested at all. Why? Because that here what happened, right? When you are opening the test underscore main.py, that's a unit test file. Have you asserted any kind of a negative value here so that it verifies it? No. So what happened that you cannot always say, no, it's not like that. You have to even check that how much percentage code coverage is it has did it as a part of the execution of your test. If it has covered only 50% of the code coverage, as we discussed, right? If suppose there is a test case which you have written, it is only covering 50% of the code coverage. What is the use? Even though you will get a result as a pass only, but it is only covering 50 lines of the code. It means that actually that unit test case, whatever the developer has written, that itself is not correct. He has to write a test cases in such a way that it has to cover minimum 95 lines. 50 is nothing. At least 90% of the 90 lines should be covered as part of unit test case. Then only you'll certify. Who will going to do it? Either the architect will check his unit test case and he is going to confirm, or is that the tool itself which will do it. Actually. So nowadays, nobody, no architect or no senior developer will come and check his code. You said, okay, you do through the tool, man. If the tool will give the result of 90%, 95%, then you will say that what are the unit test which you have written is perfectly fine. Or as the tool is not giving the result of 90 or 95%, then they'll say, rework on your test case, man, unit test cases. You need to do many other things you need to add on in your unit test. Like that, you will get the confirmation. Is it fine, guys? Did you agree with me, whatever I said so far? Ganesh, Narendra, do you agree with this? Okay, good. Now, so now you said, okay, fine, Rajesh. It means that you whatever the code, I have to assert some more things actually, right? So what you have to do that? Okay, let me do one thing. Let me assert few more things. Okay, assert at I'll just say 0, comma, -1 is equal to -1. I need to get the result of minus. Assert add -1, comma, 0. It could be anything. A, either you can pass A as a 0 and B as a -1, or A as a -1 and B as 0. Anything, it should end result should be -1. This is what the extra 2 lines assert which you have added into your unit test case. Now, if you enter, if you save it, and if you run a py test, it will give the result as passed. So with that, we are confirming that all your unit test case, whatever you have written, it is doing a complete code coverage. Clear? Is it fine? Now, so with this, what we understood, if you take a collective thing from the last session, that is from the 5th session to even on the 6th session, what you understood that. So for your organization project, so whenever you're working on any projects, for your organization projects, what are the things which you need to do as part of being a DevOps engineer? What you have to do, sir? You have to say, sir, how to download the code from source code repository or Git repository, right? How to download the dependency. If it is a Java code, if it is depend upon the Spring Boot, or you need to make sure that the Spring Boot is also getting downloaded. So all those extra software, whatever you need, right, that also has to be downloaded. How to build the code. Now the thing, how to build the code, and what all the tools required, what are the tools required or tools used. That a DevOps engineer has to know it actually, right? What are the things, guys, which are coming to mind? How to run the unit test and generate the unit test report. 5th point, how to run the static code analysis and generate the report. So what is the static code analysis, guys? I think I have to take it up in next class. I'll not be able to cover it everything. today itself, because there are many other things are there which I have to cover. I will keep a separate topic on static code analysis in our upcoming sessions and generate the report. Basically, guys, whenever you run the unit test cases as part of the DevOps work, as well as soon as you get the static code analysis and the report, right, these two reports have to be shared to the developer always. For every build commit or for every build, whatever the developer is committing, right, you need to run a pipeline. As part of execution of the pipeline, you will get these reports, and this report for sure you have to always share to the developers. Whether either you have to send to the developer's email or to the distros, or else there could be some kind of a like a SharePoint would be there, where the SharePoint where you have to upload that into a SharePoint. Later, whenever the developer needs it, he will download that report and he will view it actually. Right? Because you will be doing a lot of multiple days, multiple builds you'll be doing every day, right? As part of that, you cannot always, connect to the developer saying, hey, for this commit, I have run this, this is the report. You cannot do like that. So there is something like an understanding between the DevOps and the developers, right? What is understanding? Okay, there is some SharePoint is there, man. Always you upload there only on every day. We suppose we are committing some 10 builds, right? 10 commits we are doing. So 10 times you have to run a pipeline. So 10 times the unit test cases and static code analysis, 10 times the report will be generated. All those reports, you please try to upload into the SharePoint. That's all. Later, if developer needs any other extra information apart from that, then he will connect with you and he will get all those details what he needs. Right? Otherwise, there is a process. You know, when you're following a process, in a process, it is mentioned that you need not always get connected to the developer. There's a SharePoint is there, or there's some common SharePoint is there. There, go and upload it, sir. Or else, what you can do that you can actually you can create in a communicate, right? In a Teams communicator, what happened, right? They will create one channel. They will create actually. So under the Teams, actually, what they will do, right? They will create one channel actually. Under the Teams, Microsoft Teams, right? They will create a channel. Right, under the channel, what happened, right? You need to make sure that after the unit test case and static code analysis is generated, automatically this report should be uploaded into the channel. So it means that from your pipeline, it means that whatever the Jenkins pipeline you write it, from that pipeline itself, it should automatically send the reports into the Teams channel. Then in that case, how we are doing all these things? Oh man, it means that there's a Microsoft team communicate is there. They have to be creating a channel, then you have to upload it. How you're doing that? Actually, yes, there is something like in Jenkins, there's something like a plugin is there. We use that plugin so that we can connect to the team and we can connect to the channel and we can do it. Similarly, in many companies, what they do not, they will use a Slack channel, right? In the Slack channel, they'll say that please upload all our daily reports, everything to the Slack channels. So we'll do a Slack channel. Or sometimes they'll say that you please send us an email notification. Through an email, we have to get all the reports. So you can communicate through any means actually. But usually what happens, because you'll be running so many pipelines, always sending an email will be a kind of a irritation. So hence what happened, right? There is a common understanding between your team and the DevOps team, developers and the DevOps team, that actually please always upload the reports to this particular channel, either through a Teams or either through the Slack channels actually. Is it clear, guys? So tomorrow in our upcoming further upcoming sessions, I will take one session where we will be doing we will be integrating the Jenkins with the Slack channel, integrating the Jenkins with the email notification. Also, if you need, I'll show you how to integrate the Jenkins with your Microsoft Teams also, so that we can send a notification to any one of this channel actually. So Slack is very good actually. I will show you how to integrate Jenkins to the Slack, Jenkins to email, as well as even to the Teams also. Yeah. Apart from this, if anything else is there, you can ask me, sir. Yeah, somebody raised the hand. Ujjwal.
I just wanted to ask you about that. You have tested that PyTest example with that numerical values. If it is like the web-based application, so how we can write that for the test cases and how we can test here, like suppose example
Web
of
is
username
always
or password or
yeah,
some text.
Yeah. This is all with this, sir. With the
No,
Selenium
yeah.
framework.
So how we cannot we
No,
cannot
we will
implement
be.
that.
No, we would only be will be only be given Selenium test cases, everything into particular location actually. So what our
Yeah, how that is it possible that we can test with the PyTest all these unit test cases?
No, that is only PyTest is a testing to understood only for Python code.
Yeah,
You
I'm talking
cannot.
about the Python
Yeah,
code. If
PyTest is for Python. Yes, yes. Python will be.
yeah.
It will be.
So
Yeah.
if we want to test some Python application code,
Mm,
so
mm.
is it possible that means we can test, like you have taken the example of the Python like 2 plus 2 or something. So is it possible if we want to test a web-based application example um, like any
Yeah, you can.
export
Yeah,
or
anything export, right?
username or password of any example, something
Yeah,
like
sir.
that in Python, PyTest?
No, PyTest we cannot do. That's what I'm saying, sir.
Okay.
You cannot do.
Only
PyTest is
arithmetic
only.
part.
Yeah, only the static part, static code part,
Okay,
like
okay.
that. If whenever you want to test anything through the web, actually, like Selenium is a free. Selenium is a
Yeah,
main
Selenium
option.
or robot framework you can do.
Yeah, robot framework or Postman actually.
Oh, yeah, yeah, post. Yeah, yeah. Okay. I thought that we have some option for PyTest also. That's why I'm a little bit.
No, no, no.
Okay.
That's
Okay,
completely
thank you.
wrong code. Whatever you write the code, right? In the that is for use for testing. Suppose you
Yeah.
define a function, you import the models and all
Or
that. You
any
write.
other example apart from that, that any like
That's what I
calculation
said,
part.
right? For example, for our what do you call for our C or C++, actually, what will happen, right? We will write the C code only, sir, for doing it actually.
No, no,
Always
in the Python that PyTest. Any other example?
one is sufficient, sir. What else you need? Anything you can write, right? You can write. You have to call an asset function to call that function, and you have to pass the parameter and appropriately have to get the value. That's what. If you see this one, you'll be able to understand it. What we are doing as part of that, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's okay. But we have already used this part. So apart from this, do you have any other example that can be little bit different from this, like addition or subtraction or calculations part? So any other where we can use some other example if you have in
Uh,
mind. Otherwise, it's okay.
I can't show you now, but there are many examples are there which I can tell you offline, or I will do one thing. I will have a ready-made code with the Python and also the unit test code with the Python. I will
Okay,
share both
okay,
the files. Go through it. You'll understand.
okay, okay,
That would be
okay.
better, right?
Yeah, yeah. Please continue.
Yeah. Sure. Thank you. Yeah. So here, where I was actually how to run the static code analysis tool. Yeah, yeah. Correct, right. And what happened? Many of the organization, right? What they do as part of the static code analysis also, what they do, right? Basically, they'll also set up something like a quality gates actually. So in that case, what happened, right? How to create the quality gates? How to create the quality gates to fail the build if the code coverage, if the code coverage or what you call static code analysis report is not acceptable. See, what happened, right? In many organizations these days, they have setting up the quality gate checks also. That is a part of your static code analysis. Say, for example, if you are using Sonar Cube as a static code analysis tool. So using a Sonar Cube, inside the Sonar Cube, as a user management, you can even create a quality gates checks actually. So usually what happened, right? Whenever we say that, see, for example, whenever we are actually uh, whenever we are having something like a Java code, say for example, you have a Java code or else you have a Python code. Now, for example, as part of the unit test, actually, as part of the unit test, right, what it has to give is it has to give us a code coverage of up to 90 to 95%, between 90 to 95%. You have to get that as a result actually 90 to 9 between 90 to 95% as a code coverage you have to give. And also what happened, right, you need to get something like there should not show any critical no critical message or no critical message or no critical message log you need to get actually, right? In that case what happened, right, we will set one quality gets where we will configure it actually saying that 95 to 95% in between, if we are getting this as a value as a part of the code coverage, and then like if there are no critical message or if there is no critical issue in that, then we will certify it. So what we'll do as part of setting up this quality gate, I will set as a quality gateway quality gate one, like that I will do quality gate one, like this I will configure it actually. Oh, okay. Oh, so you said that, okay, first quality gate is check done. Fine. Then what happened, right? You will have some second quality check. Same thing, second quality check. Like that, you will have n number of quality gate checks are there. Quality one, quality two, quality gate check one, quality gate check two, quality gate check three, check four, check five, like that. Will be keep having like this. Now, why we are doing as part of it? Some organization they have to follow some standard, and they are very specific about the quality gate checks reports. Actually, if the checks reports are getting passed, then only they will allow that code to get into the production environment. Or else, if it is getting failed, they will straight away discard it. Actually. So this is kind of an optional. It's not like all the companies are having this kind of a checks, but some organizations they have started using it, and many other organizations are following to do this actually. So why again? Why? Because to manage or to maintain the code qualities actually. That's what. There's no other thing actually. So this is one kind of a way. What happened, right? It will make our process very simple. Okay, it means that when during the build process or during the pipeline execution, Jenkins pipeline execution, at that time, what happened if the quality gates are getting passed, then only we will certify saying that this build is okay. Otherwise, you straight away discard it. So in some organization, what they will do now, they will set up some 5 quality checks. Sometime what happened, right? The code will pass the quality gate check 3, it will pass. Check 4 and check 5, it will not pass. Assume that it will get failed. But still what happened, right? The technical architects or the leads, what they'll go through it, they'll try to understand the why it has got failed in the 4th and 5th. Maybe in the 4th and 5th, there might be some security kind of a vulnerability was there. Because of that reason, what happened, the quality gate check 4 was failed. Okay, fine. They understood it, the reason. 5th quality check was something like, okay, they found some loopholes in that existing code, maybe like that. But what happened overall, what they understand, okay, that, okay, quality check gateway check 3 is passed. It means that at least functionality wise, the code is working fine. Maybe because of some external things or because of some vulnerability, it is getting failed. Yeah, that is accepted. We have to fix that issue. But anyhow, okay, fine. We will allow the code to go into the further stage. So they'll allow that. Even though it is getting failed in the 4th and 5th stage, you will do it. So sometimes what happens, you have 5 quality gate checks are there. But what they will do that, they will say that, okay, initially, whenever the pipeline is getting tested, what they will tell to the DevOps is saying that, hey, you always enable the quality gate check 1, check 2, and check 3. Disable the check 4 and check 5. Right now, don't do that. Later, what happened, right, when you are trying to push the code into the UAT environment, at that you open this gateway check 4 and gateway check 5, because under that time, we have to make sure that the code has to even pass even through the quality gateway check 4 and check 5 also. You understood? Initially, what happened, they will disable some quality gate checks actually. Later, they have to enable it, and they have to make sure all quality checks, gate checks has to be passed. Why? Because that they have to check all kind of a security threats or vulnerability associated with the application. If in case if your application is using something like Apache web server, or it is calling some Apache web URL, or the Nginx, even that Nginx or Apache might have some security vulnerabilities. It might open some ports which it might be accessing some ports, or you are accessing some ports no, which usually it should not be opened actually. So under that, what happened? Your quality gate checks will catch that and say that, okay, you are using some open port. So for this, right, for this authentication, this port should not be open. It should be closed, because there's a vulnerabilities there. Actually, there could be some kind of a security attack. There will be something like a DDoS attack like that. Right. So that's the reason why initially they'll be lenient with certain quality check checks. Later, once your product become very mature, and once you are doing heavy testing and a lot of new features are getting in, at that time they'll not compromise with everything. They have to fulfill. So this is one thing, like management is very concerned about this. Even like a technical architect, even the director, even the CEO, the CTO also will ask you, hey, those quality checks are passed. They'll ask you. So this is what one of the very important thing, where the management is very much concerned about. Even though they don't know about the programming, or even though they don't know about the whole project, nobody knows about the project, but still they're concerned about the management. They're concerned about this report. So they will ask for this report. If this report is getting passed, then only they will allow the code to get into the production, or else they will not at all allow it actually. Even after going that, even if they are finding, if the customer place, if that product or something is not working fine or something like, oh, then again, man, they will they will try to they'll try to hit back everyone now. Then they'll try to see who uploaded, what happened, what is the process happened, what are the reports are there. They will dig everything, and they'll try to find out where exactly we missed it out. Right? So Ujwal and other people, any did you understood? I mean, not Ujwal, sorry, Babban Chakrabarti.
Yes, sir.
So was it useful for you, this discussion, or something which you already knew it? Ujwal bhai, what about you? Anything you want to add on if you are aware of apart from this? Okay. Okay. Mayur, Ramesh Reddy, Sadanand.
All good, sir.
Right. Good. So whatever we discussed, these things, guys, what happened again, whenever the context come, I'll be keep repeating the same thing again. It's not like that one time I discussed and I went off. No, this context will come everywhere now. Whenever you are discussing about the Jenkins and the pipeline and all, we will be hearing this report, static code analysis report, unit test case reports, quality gate checks, sonar cube, next. These will keep repeating, sir, everywhere, and you will be used to hear all these words again and again. So don't worry, if suppose certain things are not clear, we will revisit again and we will discuss the same thing. In another different way, we'll discuss this. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Okay, guys. Good. Okay. So as I said, right, this quality gate checks is an optional, guys. It is not really, or not all companies follow, but it is an optional. It's left to you, the organization, whether they want to go with this quality gate checks, because this is a hard point or pain point. You cannot escape. No developers, no testers, or no DevOps engineer can escape from this quality. If the quality gate checks, the quality gate checks are enabled. If it is there, even though you cannot escape it. Actually, everything has to follow in a process. All has to be adhered to the process, and it has to go with all these quality gateway checks, and then like it has to get certified saying that everything is fine. Okay, and for doing this, actually, that we will be learning about the sonar cube. This is the tool actually, which is the static code analysis tool, static code analyzer tool. We have to deeply understand about this also in our upcoming session. So this might come after 6-7 sessions. We will come across the sonar cube, Nexus Artifactory, and JFrog after it. Not now, another 5-6 sessions after that will be coming up. Now, with this again, what I want to bifurcate between the DevOps and the developers, right? So, what is the roles of or roles, or we call it the responsibilities of developers versus DevOps? This is very common question, guys, which is asked in many interviews. Sometime I feel like okay, a lot of people will miss or something, or else they don't know how to articulate it in a very proper way about the roles and responsibilities between the DevOps and the developers. Sometime what happened, right? Some people really ask this because they want to know like what kind of an answer you are giving it. Because the whole world knows about this answer. Anyone can answer, any person, even the freshers can also answer what the developer does, what the DevOps does. But as being an experienced person, right, they will ask you this question because to know that how deeply you're answering such questions. Oh, you will say that, okay, developer is developing the code, I am writing. Yeah, that is okay, fine, that's all correct. But what other things which you are answering? What are the other extra things which you are answering, right? They are more concerned about that actually. Right now, whenever it comes, whenever such kind of comes, and as a DevOps engineer, when you talk about the security related stuff, when you talk about the infrastructure related stuff, right, and when you talk about the authentication related stuff, or when you talk about something like where you are resolving some really critical customer related customer issues which you have found and which you are resolved in, this is what which they would be looking for such in such answers actually. So whether I'm answering whether I am incorporating this, okay, I have used any kind of a security tool and all, and how I have made more robust, how I have avoided any kind of a security threats or the vulnerabilities, right? What are the best, I can say, what are the approaches which I have followed to avoid all such things, right? That is one thing they will see from your answer. They'll be digging you from your answers. And second is the infrastructure. So how you have built the infrastructure. So what are the precautions you took while creating infrastructure, and what tools you have used while building infrastructure? This is what they'll see. And which is the most recent issue which you have found, and how you have resolved that issue. Which are the most critical issue which you have found, and how you have issue. And the fourth point is something like which you can talk about. Suppose any real-time issues which a customer is facing, which you have faced, which you are also, because as being a DevOps engineer, we will be connected with the customer also, right? So there, what will happen that if you have faced certain critical issues, and if you are able to give an example of that, And if you can say that, okay, this is how I resolved it, this is how I got the problem statement, and this is what the customer is facing, and this is how we resolved it. We means all developers, DevOps, and everything. And my role was that this is what I enhanced, or I did a lot of changes in my pipeline code or into the process itself. Then also this is all which they'll be looking for, right? So I feel like sometime what happened, right? We are not giving a proper answer for such questions. That's the reason what happened. They are not really I can say that they're not really interested with our candidature if you're not giving such kind of an answer. So they'll always be looking with best answers from us whenever it comes to kind of a roles and responsibilities. But I'm not going in a very in-depth about this. I will just in a very high level, I will write it down so that, I mean, it's a very common, but still as we are learning, right, we should know about that actually, right? So for example, like I will go here, guys, I think whatever I thought to follow, whatever I thought to cover, I will not be able to cover, I think. But anyway, we'll see. So assume that this is a developer actually. He's a developer, sorry. Copy image. I will just paste this image. So he's a developer. I'll take one more as a DevOps engineer. So because DevOps engineer will be working on too many tasks, right? So let me consider this as a DevOps engineer. Or else let me write this one. This is better, I think. So he's a DevOps engineer. I will write in a very simple way. Later, we will, as we see, like we will add on whatever I said the question, we'll add a better answer for this in our upcoming session. But right now, let me write a very, very simple thing actually. So first is we know the developer is always developing the code, right? What else? Write the unit test case, unit tests. This and all we know, Rajesh just now told. Ensuring the unit tests are passed locally, in the system. Ensure the static code analysis is passed locally, means in his local machine. Ensure the quality gates are passed locally. This is what the developer will be looking for. So this is the responsibility of the developers. This anyway we have discussed so far. This is what you can punch and you can say about this in interview. This is very, very common thing which we have been telling, but yeah, we have to add on. Many other things are there, we will add on later. What about the DevOps engineer? What he will do that he will get the latest code. Very, very basics are we are talking. We will get the latest code from the Git. Build the code. We know that Rajesh, we need to build the code. Build the code. Run the unit tests. Run the unit tests. Run the unit tests. Code coverage. Static code analysis. And finally, generate the report. If any one of the above fails, it could be a static unit test fails or static code analysis or anything it should. If any one of the above fails, reject that commit or reject that build. Reject that commit done by the developer. So developer will do the commit, right? You need to hit everything. So if all the above pass, accept the commit and proceed to the next. This is what the DevOps has to do. This is his routine activity, day-to-day activity. But as I said earlier, like there are many things out there which the DevOps has to do. We will discuss in all the things in our upcoming session. Is it fine till here?
Yes, sir.
Very good. Now the thing is, guys, very good. Now the thing is that actually that now whenever we write, yeah.
Sir, like just I have one doubt here. Once we the DevOps engineer clone the Git repo into the Jenkins pipeline, right? First, he'll run the test cases on that and then build it, or after the build, he will execute those steps.
As a part of building the package, it'll also run even the unit test also.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, it's a good question. When we come across with the build tool, say for example, Maven, we will be able to understand better because you'll be seeing practically all these things. So you'll be, whatever your doubts are, the little bit here and there, that everything will get resolved when we get into the build tool actually. So now guys, what happened right now? The thing is that actually guys, now now let us understand about what exactly, suppose for example, in your company, you are building a project and the project is a Java based application or Java based project. So what we will do that you will be building the Java code actually. Right now, whenever you see the Java program, Java codes, right? And as I said, right, always the file should be ending with a dot. Right. So in your company, right, it's not like one or two developers will be, there will be hundreds of developers will be working, right, in your organization. If you see any startup company, where there are around 10 or 15 employees are there, right? It is very startup company, small companies there. Suppose you go to, in Bangalore, you go to HSR layout, or else you go to some other Hebbal and all, you will see that there are so many startup companies are there. In every road, in every gully, there is a small startups are there. You will see that minimum around 15, 12 people are there in that company. Out of 15 or 12 people, you can minimum expect that there are 5 people who are developers. And whenever they're working on a complex project actually, so all the 5 developers, like they'll be working on a project. It's not like they'll be writing one file, a Java based program. They'll be writing hundreds of files, hundreds of .java files they might be writing, right? They will be writing, right? Now, whenever you are working on such a large number of files or Java based files, right? You cannot you cannot compile every file one after the other and finally integrate it. It means that suppose there is a file by name 1.java, there's a file by name 2.java, and there's a file by name 3.java. So you will have hundreds of files. You cannot say that, okay, all the developers, what they will do that they will try to compile this and they will going to get the class file out of it, dot class file out of it. And again, they will compile the Java to separately and they will get again a different class out of it, right? So what I'm trying to tell that actually that you cannot do an individual compilation of all these files like one at a time, and then like you try to integrate it, right? And then you will say that Rajesh, as a part of 3.java, I will get finally that 3 dot class, I will get a file as an output file. This I'll get as a 2 dot class, and this will get 1 dot class, something like that. Now, if you're having 100 files, do you think that all 100 files should be individually get compiled and finally all these 3 files, three dot class files, they all will be integrated and finally all these 3 files will be integrated and you'll be making as a R file, or you're making as a var file, or you're making as a ER file. So it is not that easy that you do all such things manually, right? So building any large projects, a big project where a lot of developers are involved, lot of class files are there, lot of dependencies are there, lot of libraries are using, you cannot simply do like that because it's a complex, like you're writing a very complex project or a complex project you're developing. So you need to even have some kind of a complex build tool. So now whenever you are building any Java based code, earlier what happened, right? To resolve certain complexities, we have something like Ant build tool. This was one of the very early tool which was designed by the Apache Foundation, Apache Software Foundation. So what happened to certain extent, whatever I said earlier, like you have a large project where there are a lot of files are there, you need to compile all the files, and finally you need to create a jar or a var or a file. It was happening very easily with the help of an Ant build tool. But as things were getting more and more complex, because a lot of new software, open source softwares or applications were built, a lot of new models were getting added on year by a lot of open source community people. Then this Ant was not was not able to handle all such things actually. So it means that actually that it was not able to handle. So particularly what happened, the Ant build tool was not able to handle managing all the dependency files actually, or the dependency library. It was not handling that much. So that's the reason what happened, guys. The same Apache Software Foundation, they designed one more tool very quickly and they called it the Maven build tool. Maven build tool is basically, it is used to build it's going to build means it's going to use for building or creating a package or creating a binary out of your project. So whenever you work on any complex project, Maven build tool is used always. And all those complexities, whatever you see in your program while compiling, all those complexities are resolved by the build tool itself. And that is about the Maven. Now, because we are learning Jenkins, we are learning some pipeline. As being a DevOps engineer, we have to first understand about how the Jenkins works. Right, because anyhow we are in that flow now. How Jenkins works, we are trying to understand. In that, you need to install the Jenkins in some server. The Jenkins need to have some kind of a hardware dependencies required. So you need to have some big server where we can install Jenkins. Before you install Jenkins, we know that Java has to be installed. So such kind of a things we have already been seeing from the day one onwards, right? Now what happened? Once you understand about the Jenkins, so now we understood how Jenkins works, what is the UI and all. Yeah, fine, we are good with that. Now what happened, right? Now we are having some complex Java project is there. Okay, fine. Now that this Jenkins, what it has to do now, it has to build that, it has to build what it has to do, build that package. How it will build that? Jenkins is integrated with the Maven build tool to compile, to build complex project, to build the package with it. How it does it, we will see it in some time. We will be seeing in some time, right? It's going to build the package. Right. So Maven build tool, what happened, right? You might have in the same server, wherever Jenkins installed, in the same server, you can even install the Maven build tool and you can build the project. But usually it doesn't happen like that in the organization. I think already I discussed earlier also that Maven build tool will not be there in the same server where Jenkins is running. It will be in a separate server where we'll have a separate server by, we call it as a build server. There will happen, we'll maintain the Maven tool, will install, will configure and everything, so that what the Jenkins will do that as part of a pipeline. When we write a pipeline or when you write a job, when you write the job, we will tell to the job that, okay, where the Maven is there. So Maven is there in that particular server. So we are going to call that server. And then like we are going to give that, give the work to that server saying that, okay, you build that project. So it means that when you try to create a separate server where the Maven is installed or configured, right? You need to even integrate that Maven build server with the Jenkins server. So Jenkins server will be integrated to the Maven build server. How the integration is done, we will see it later. Don't worry. It's very, very interesting, but we need to see that. It's nothing like you are creating some user account and then with the Jenkins user, you are going to configure and some kind of a password authentication you are going to enable to make sure that Jenkins can actually connect to your Maven build tool. And through the pipeline, what happened, right? You are going to tell in the pipeline that, okay, I need to call that my Maven build tool. How you do that? Again, we will see in the pipeline. Don't worry. Right? Sounds interesting? Right? Now, you will say that, okay, Rajesh, fine, I understood what I said now. Now, let us see that, suppose I have a Java program. I have a simple Java program. How I can compile or how I can actually create a build from that and how I can run it? Can you just show me an example, a small example? Okay, we'll see. So what we are doing now, we are going to understand about building the Java code with Maven actually. So, right, we'll have a Maven. Right. For that, I need not to do that much work. What I need not to write the code myself because I'm not a very good programmer. What I will do that, I'll go to the net. I'll just say simple hello world Java program, something in programming Java. See, he himself is giving this. You can go through any link, guys. Everything it'll give you all the same example. I think if you go over here, you could see that actually that they have given a code actually. They've given a code, right? So you are given a hello world program code. This is Java simple. I need not to really understand about this, how this Java works, but simply what I will do that, I will try to copy this code actually. Now what I will do that, guys, I'll go to this server and let me do one thing. Let me come out from this and then like I will create one directory by name mkdir. What is it? Java demo I'll give, right? Java demo, and I'll get into the Java demo. And then like I'll do one thing, I'll just say main.java. I'll write the same file, main.java, because always Java will have a .java as an extension. I will just go into the insert mode and just copy this. That's all. This is my simple Java program, hello world program. Now I need to have a Java to be installed. So right now, Java is not there. If I say Java -fn version, it is not there, right? Java is not installed. It means that you have to install the Java application. So we know that you have to always install the Java image. I will go with the sudo apt install. What is it? I will just say open JDK-17-JDK. You have seen this, right? You have seen earlier in the many of the sessions, right? I'm installing the Java 17. You can even install the Java 21 version, which is latest version, or else you can even install some older version like OpenJDK 11 also can install. But I will not go with the little older version with the Java that is 11. OpenJDK 8, you don't go with the OpenJDK 8 because 8 is very, very old. Okay, don't go with that. Only go with the OpenJDK 17-JDK 1Y, right? You are installing this package so that with this package, I'm getting a Java installed in my system. Guys, I think I'll not be able to cover whatever I thought to cover it. I'll not be able to complete it, but that is fine. Okay. We'll see tomorrow morning. I'll see if I am able to, have one more session tomorrow morning. Okay. Java is installed. How to verify it? You will say Java -f version. So Java is installed. You could see that OpenJDK 17 and the OpenJDK runtime environment build 17. Oh, it means that Java is installed. We need not to, Java is installed. So now what I will do that, guys, actually now I have to install, I have to compile that my, what is it? Main.java, right? I need to compile this. Compile means I need to build out of it. Now, how to do it? I have to just say Java C. So Java C is a command. It is going to get it. Once you install the OpenJDK, right, you'll get a Java C also. If you say Java C -FN help, you could see that actually you're getting this option. Oh, it means that Java C command is there actually. So Java C is used for compiling it. How to do it? I'll just say, Rajesh, I'll just say Java C and I'll just say main.java and enter. And ls. Can you see, guys? It has created a file by name hello world.class file. It has created a class file. So this is nothing but an executable file. This is nothing but the executable file. How you are going to run it? You have to just say Java and only give this hello world. Don't give the complete name. Don't give the class. Just say hello world. That's all. And say and just say enter. See, Java space hello world and say enter. See, it will execute the program. It will execute the program. Clear? So now what happened? This is very simple program because I have created a small file by name main.java and then I compiled using the Java C and passed that main.java. It has compiled and you got the class file and you executed. Do you think that the programming will be such simple way where the developer will be doing? No, the developer will be writing many files. It not only main.java, will be even writing the test.java. They will be writing files by name dev.java. So many hundreds of files they will write. Do you think that every file they will do Java C main.java, Java C test.java? No, they cannot do it individual compiling. They have to the whole Java files. They have to compile everything, integrate everything. Finally, you have to get one executable file. So that is what. So to build a complex project, you have a Ant build tool, but Ant is not that much famous, or companies have stopped using Ant because they will not be able to get all kind of dependencies with the Ant tool. Then people went into the Maven build. Right. So sometime what happened, right? People will also create a jar file out of it. Say, for example, I have this hello world class. I need to create a jar. So there's a command, jar command is a jar. I think CF is there. You have to give that jar file, hello world.jar, something like that. Right. And then give the class file name, hello world.class and say enter. Can you see a jar file got created? This is not but the Java archive. Suppose you're having some 2-3 class files. You can integrate all these 3 class files in a single jar file. So jar command is jar cf and then give the jar name and give all the class files name. Right? In that way, what happened? You're going to create one jar file. So this jar file also you can give to anyone. They can also run this jar file and they can execute the program with the help of the jar also can execute.
CF is an option or we have to use it CF?
No, CF is
Jar
an option, sir. Jar CF. You have to use, yeah, it's option. You have to pass that option. So what happened, right? Like, so building the Java code is nothing but it is executing the Java file, right? So how you compile it? You will say Rajesh Java C and specify the main.java. So what it will do? It will try to create this class file, hello world.class file. Right? How it is compiling again, because in your main.c, right, main.java is there, right? You're using the class name by name hello world. It is actually taking the same name, and after this, it is going to add this dot class. As an output, what it does that, what are the class names you are giving, right? That itself will take the name and it will just add dot class. So how the Java C will do? Java C will do that. What class file name you are using, with that only it's going to create an executable with that name only. And always, whenever it creates the executable, always it will always have a dot class as an extension. So why I'm stressing all this again, because that Maven build tool also, when it is compiling the Java, you will get some output as a target as a dot class files actually. You have to remember that. So where it will be there, Rajesh, will be there under target folders. Under the target folders, there is a classes folder will be there. Under the classes, there will be dot classes file will be there. Okay. Oh, that's how it works. Yes, that's how it works actually. So that how the Maven is doing, because that Maven follows something we call it as a convention. Maven follows something like convention over configuration, we say actually. What is it? We will see in some time, all those things. Okay. But right now you have to understand, okay, why I showed you, because that you need to understand that, okay, if there is one program is the main.java, as a compilation, you're getting an output as a hello world or whatever with a dot class as an extension. That is something like an executable file, or nothing but it is a executable file. Later, you can even make that also as a jar file also. Hello world.jar. Jar is not but Java archive. It's collection of the dot class files you can make as a Java archive. That Java archive also you can give to any person. He will also can execute that jar file and he can run that program. So that jar file, is it having only one class file or several? It has several class files. Even it also has a library also. You can even include some external library as part of it. So that external library might be dependency for your dot class files. So hence what happened, you can integrate all the class files, many class files with the libraries, everything together in a single jar file. Oh, okay. It means that Rajesh, Java programming has some execution formats. Yeah, what are those execution formats? Class file, plainly you can run with the help of a Java. You can plainly run the class file, or else you can create a jar, or else you can create a var, or either you can create an ERR. This is what you will have. These are the execution formats. Java execution formats. Right? Now, what is happening that actually this is a very simple. If some companies are building, you say, Rajesh, you say that the startup companies, where only 5 people are there. Yeah, correct. But Rajesh, when they are working, assume that this company is only working on Java, only 3 or 4 files only they are creating, man. That is what sufficient. It is sufficient for them to develop the whole project. It means only 3, 4 files only Java files they are writing. Yeah. I mean, in that case, what happens? You don't need any man build tool at all. You can directly do compilation and you can do it, and you can create a jar or var or ER out of it, and then like you can run the program. Okay, that's fine. But do you think that in case when it comes to the enterprise software projects, very large projects when they are building, do you think that they will be building only 3, 4 files? No, the hundreds of thousands of files they will build it. So things become very complex. You cannot manage it manually. You have to depend upon some build tool, which is a Maven build tool. Is it fine, sir? So let me write it down. I'll just write 2 minutes, then we'll wind up the session. So building the Java code is executing .java files. It means that actually with what we are doing, how we are doing, right? With the Java C command, and then specify. In our case, I'm giving something like a main.java. This is what you have to pass on with the Java. So, and it will create a dot class file. So in our case, it is something like a hello world dot class, like that it got created, right? And finally, to run the application, you need to you need to execute, what is it? You need to execute, sir, Java, and you have to give that path information about where is the dot class file. Yeah, if you are not in the same path, you are in some other path, you have to give the complete path, or else you have to just say Java and give that class file name. So not complete class file name means without the class dot class extension. In our case, what we give something like a Java space hello world, like this we gave, and it executed, right? But as I said, right, it is not that easy how we are speaking now with only one file. In the enterprise software project, we will have multiple Java based .java files, right? So building each file to generate the dot class file and later combining all the dot class file to build a class file to build what is it to build a jar file. Assume that jar file format is difficult, so we have to depend on Maven build tool. Maven build tool, it will resolve all complexity, guys. As I said, right, if your Java needs some kind of a plugins, it needs external plugins, it needs a lot of external libraries, external packages, some frameworks it needs to it. Everything the Maven can resolve for the end user. It means that I'm a developer means I need not to worry at all. Everything. Maven can also can fetch all kind of dependencies from your central repository, but your local repository within your company. Maven can also resolve all your all your issues even by connecting to the internet and then downloading all kind of softwares or the framework or whatever dependencies are, right, or else what plugins it requires for, right, everything will automatically download and install it. So a lot of complexities, everything is reduced drastically by your Maven. And Maven is integrated in such a beautiful that it has integrated with many languages actually. Even suppose, for example, if you are writing a Java code within a Java code, in between the Java code, you are actually using the Python code also. Python also you're using it actually. So it means that when you're compiling it, you have to resolve the Python dependency. Python dependency is also required actually. So what your Maven will do, that Maven will also install all kind of a Python plugin, what it is needed for your application. Python plugins are the right, that will also install it and it will resolve all the things. So it means that actually that you need to follow a process of how you can resolve all the dependencies and all. We will see in our next class about, we will deep dive into how exactly Maven works. Now, what I'm going to start in the next session, that in our next upcoming session, I'm going to show you, right, how to install a simple Maven. I'll be installing a Maven. I'll be writing and we'll be learning about basic introduction about what exactly Maven is all about. Okay, before Maven, what Ant was doing, I will discuss about that around 10-15 minutes, and then we will see that there is some limitation in the Ant. We will not be able to get all those we will not be able to resolve all the difficulties whatever we are facing. Then what happened, Maven was came, and how Maven will resolve it. And we will also write a simple program, hello world program, Java based program, and then we will see that how Maven can build it, how it can create a package out of it. And we'll be keep going in a very deeper level. We'll go one level, two level deeper. We will go in a Maven, and we will see that we will understand the whole structure of the Maven. We'll understand what are the dependency files are there, what are the format it follows. The story is a huge, guys. It's a very big discussion actually. So hence what happened, I need minimum 2 sessions only on Maven to make you understand how the Maven works. And why I'm stressing Maven again, as I said, right, whenever the interviewer will ask you, so when they start asking you about the Jenkins or the pipeline, right, they'll definitely ask you the question on which is the build server which you have used, or what are the applications which you are saying that you followed a DevOps, or you're being DevOps in your, right? What is an application which your developer is using? What is up? You'll say that it's a Java based application. So how you're building it up? They'll ask you. You will say that, yeah, we have a Maven build tool to do it. Now he'll start asking you the Maven questions actually. So in the Maven question, whatever a very basic fundamental question to a very kind of a twisted question, whatever he asks, right, you should be able to answer in a very comfortable way. That's all I need from you, right? If you're able to answer it, everything, you have to make him happy. He should be, he should be convinced with your answer. Then I think that you have crossed that first level actually. And once you are crossed, once he get a confidence on you that, okay, this fellow knows very good in Jenkins or very good in pipeline. Now I'll start asking you about the Docker. I'll start asking you about Kubernetes, like that. If you're failed at the first stage itself, then what happened? He will not get any interest to ask any other tools actually. What he will straight away will discard you. That's the reason. Some interview, what happened, guys? The format of some interview is that actually that they will start asking you from the pipeline itself actually. And some interview, what happened, right? They will first touch all complex things. They'll ask you how much you are good in Docker and Kubernetes. Okay, they'll ask you that, or else in some intros they'll they'll start asking you from the Terraform only, because that is what they needed. They'll ask you to the Terraform, they'll ask you, slowly they'll get into the Jenkins and they will get into the Docker and Kubernetes. Some companies are there, what happened, right? They will not ask you about the Jenkins at all, not even a single question. They will be only discussing more on the Docker, Kubernetes, Ansible, like this actually. Right. So it depends upon the requirement they choose to ask. That's the reason, like whenever you get an interview, always you have to clearly go to the JD, right? And you need to even ask the person who's calling, the HR or anyone, you have to ask what you are actually looking for. Okay, in DevOps engineer, in which tools you are mostly asking. They will give a clue saying that, okay, the team is looking more on GitLab. Okay, the team is more looking on Python. Okay, the team is more looking on Ansible. They will also tell you that. So you should understand, okay, if they're asking on Ansible, you should be well prepared in Ansible, like that. Clear, guys? So sorry, guys, I took so much today, but I think whatever I thought to cover it up. Sorry, I couldn't cover it up. Tomorrow I will tell you. By tonight I will tell you I'll be taking tomorrow. I think morning 90% I'll be taking a class, guys. I'll just take 1 hour class tomorrow, right? So where I will start with the introduction of what the Maven, and show you like how to install a Maven. First, I will show you about how the Ant works, how the Maven works and all. And then later I'll install it and I will show a small example of how Maven can build a tool. What are the things which you need to understand when you're learning, when you're understanding about the Maven? Everything, guys, whatever I'm talking about the Maven, everything you should keep in mind. Everything. You need to note down everything. You need to make a mind. And please make sure that you have to go through the documentation on heavily. You have to depend upon the Maven documentation. And you should also be very comfortable in installing, managing the Maven build tool. And also, like any kind of issues is coming when you are facing on Maven, you should be able to resolve also. You should be able to fix the issue also. So certain things you should be very good in that actually. So if you are passed through that thing, then I think that learning pipeline or executing in the pipeline will become very cakewalk. It is not that simple. You need to just follow a routine of how to write a pipeline. Now you know the whole process of the Jenkins pipeline works. You can write and you can execute, it will work. The thing is that actually that at the end, whatever we are learning now, that becomes very, very simple if you are learning all the complexity at the very before itself. If you learn all the complexity very before, learning at the end, if suppose you talk directly about the pipeline, you might not be able to understand everything at the first stage itself, actually. You need to step by step, you have to go, and then finally you have to see how pipeline works and how to execute, how to resolve any kind of issues when the pipelines are getting failed. And many other things are there, which is an add-on with the pipeline, right? You need to integrate the DevSecOps, you need to integrate some kind of a security scanning, testing. That's all added on. That we will see later, right? So now our intention is to learn the Maven build tool. Is it fine, guys? So thank you, guys, for staying so long. And yeah, now let me know if you have any questions. Sorry, today I was speaking more and more because I have to cover, that's what. Fine. Guys, any questions? If not, we will. Yeah. Ujjwal?
Yeah, so tomorrow in the morning or
Yeah, tomorrow 100% morning 9 I will take. 1 hour I will take, so that we will finish off certain things. And again, evening tomorrow, we will deep dive into the Maven only. We'll go one level deeper in Maven. So there you will say, what is this, Rajesh? You are saying so many things. Is it really required? You will say like that, actually. Sometimes you'll get headache. What is this, man? So much you have to learn. No, it's good actually. We learn all these things. And when you go to real time, right? And when you start working, then you will enjoy like anything, sir. That enjoyment, that thrill you should get when you're working on these tools and in these technologies. Right? Fine. I think today is too much. We'll stop it now. Any questions, sir, before I stop the recording? No?
tomorrow, when we do with the Maven, so in the Jenkins tools, we are going to take the Maven or just like.
Yeah, we can do both actually. What I will do, what I will do that, I will do in a both, because we have to show in a both. First, what I will do, I will install a Maven in a single standalone machine. There, what we will do, will.
See, right in the Unix right now, our jar file is ready with the Java what you have done, right?
Yeah, right.
So tomorrow it is easy that from
Yes,
the
yes.
you can
right,
use the build. You can use the build for that,
right.
and then you can take how to we can do in the Jenkins tools.
Yes, Jenkins also we can.
How
That's
to
what
configure the add-ins. Yeah.
Yes. The main is that we have to land up with the Jenkins, because again, Jenkins, I'm not doing in a Jenkins server only. I will be creating one more new server where I'll be called as a Maven build server, and there I will install it and everything, and then finally integrate that Maven with the Jenkins, and then like what are the pipeline we run, right? That has to call that node where the Maven is installed actually, right? That's how it should be. It's, sir, at the end, no, I'll tell you, at the end, all these are very simple only. Initially, it will take time us to understand and digest all the concepts. Once you are understood everything, once everything is clear in your mind, right? Then working on Maven, working on Nexus, now working on any kind of artifact tool, working on anything will become very easy actually. It's not that difficult actually, right? Fine, guys. Thank you then. Okay, let me
Thank
stop
you.
the recording.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hello, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, Sanjay. Yeah.
It's not related to Jenkins, but I read one article which was shared by Neeru in a group.
Mhm.
What is this exit policy, exit trend of cloud? Do you have any input on it?
Exit end of the code means what is it? I didn't understood.
So most of the
Oh,
companies
okay,
are
okay.
exiting from the
Yeah, yeah.
cloud and they are
Some
moving in
company.
on-premises.
No. See, there are many reasons are there, right? Like one of the biggest reason is cost optimization. I told you, an example I gave, Twitter, what happened, Elon Musk, when he took charge of the Twitter company, right? Twitter was completely working on a cloud platform. He said, I don't want to make it, why you have to give 80 millions, he was giving to the cloud. I think it was for AWS only. So when he so much was billing happening, yeah, he straight away he told to the Twitter CEO and other Parag Agarwal that I don't want this to run in cloud, man. Everything it make it on premise. He'll set a data center. So for him, he was able to save $80 million per year actually. So that kind of a cost cutting. Sometimes what happen, you have to certain compromise of the security happens when it comes to cloud. So they don't want to compromise that one. Right. So many of the banking projects, right, still they are not migrated to the cloud because they are feared about the security part. So still you could see that all SBI's applications, banking applications, or many big banking applications, they're still working under the same on-premises server only. Maybe in the on-premises, they would have set either OpenShift cluster, Red Hat's OpenShift, or else Kubernetes they might be using, but they're not completely moved their work into the cloud actually. Right. See, there are both pros and cons are there actually in the cloud. Actually, that's the reason what happened. Still, not like many companies. Many companies are still moving to the cloud. They are getting a lot of features. They are getting all their they're managing all this complex infrastructures overhead. Right. Those all are getting reduced if you are moving to the cloud. Actually, as I said earlier, all your Netflix, Swiggy application, everything is working in the cloud. Swiggy is not bothered about all these things. They are bothered about their application only. All rest of the other things, everything is managed by a cloud. Why I need to break my head? I don't want to have a very big team where I will manage all my data centers, everything. I don't need it. The investment is very less, but the kind of output what you are getting is a huge money. How Swiggy is earning so much money? Because that their whole application, everything is running, everything in the cloud only. Right. So there are pros and cons are there on both the end actually. We not to really worry. See, cloud is, I will tell you, sir, cloud is one of the very beautiful technologies, sir. It cannot go like that. And the huge millions of no billions of rupees have been invested by all major cloud providers. Do you think that will go as it is? No, it will not go. And you will find next to 10 years, 15 years, you will see people are working on cloud. Maybe tomorrow some other technology, if it comes, it can surpass something on the cloud. Maybe it might happen. See, why they're giving us there. Maybe I have not seen that article. I have to go to that article, whichever you're seeing. Maybe some big customers might have migrated back from the cloud to on-prem. Maybe it might have happened. That's the reason some person might have written an article on that.
As per that article is saying that they are using hybrid. Okay, some of the infrastructure they are creating on the on-premises and some of the infrastructure they are creating on the cloud level. That I read. So I just wondered about it. Do we need to learn anything else like OpenStack or anything else?
See, firstly, what happened, Roman? What you said is rightly. One is that actually we should have a knowledge on hybrid cloud. It means that some of the servers are working on cloud, some of the work are working on premises. How exactly you set up a communication between your on premises to your cloud, right? And how the communication happens. So we have to your networking stuff should be very good. It means that all kind of those gateways, transit gateways, how it works internally, what is this cloud front, all the services which the cloud provides to you, right? That we should be very good with that actually, or either with the DNS resolver, right? What kind of a DNS resolver is there? If suppose some of your servers are there in your on premises, some of the servers, application servers are there in your cloud, how the traffic flows and all this kind of a complexity things which usually the customer faces are, right? We need to know, we need to have answer for all such complex things actually. But the greater thing is actually that actually you need to have a knowledge on at least minimum two clouds, either AWS and Azure, or either AWS with Google GCP cloud. If you have a knowledge on two cloud, and if you have a knowledge on how to migrate the application from the on-premise to the cloud, and you have understanding of all the major DevOps tools, plus some of the monitoring tools, and few of the security related tools, if you are aware of it, and few of the things which as I was keep saying that about the Python and Python. So these are the things, guys, which which you can lead to a very good job actually. Right. So don't worry about that. No, cloud will go off. No, nothing like that actually. Cloud will be there. Only we have to learn, we have to understand the cloud, and we need to know about how these services will be used by the end customer, and how we have to make use of these services for doing any kind of a migration activity, right? And then like all those complexity things, whatever we face, right? Like it be security, authentication, let it be the communication between one region to other region, how you complex, how do you manage the, what they call, what is it actually? Data redundancy, or there's one more thing is, what is it actually? Failover actually, cluster failover, or something like failover happens, right? Such things and all we should be aware of. All such answers we should be aware of, because these are things which are asked in interview. Maybe you might have a knowledge or not, that is secondary, but at least when you go for interview, you should have a knowledge or answer for all such things, because at least you'll clear the interview. Once you get into the company, work, and then you will slowly learn all such things. Right. The first entry point or first gate is nothing but actually you have to clear the interview and get inside the company. For such things, we need to prepare a little hard actually. That's what.
Yeah.
That is the only thing, sir. We have to prepare really hard to enter into that first level. First you go, no, if you go inside the company, you will see things are very simple actually. It's not that complex. So as you keep involving in a day-to-day project and all, right, when you involve it, definitely you will, you'll be able to learn many things. But you should have that into in you. And also you should have your mind should always be something like I mean, you should always be keep finding something or the other. You should not keep idle, or you should not be confined to your own like own comfort space. No, you should always come out from the comfort space, think out something, and contribute a lot with the project and learn many things from that actually. So then only what happened, your knowledge will grow. Once the knowledge grows, right, your practical implementation and all should grow. You should do more hands-on or practical when you're working on a project. That's how your knowledge will get an answer. Otherwise, just knowing or hearing or understanding will not suffice you. You have to put a hand in by doing practically. Then only what happened, you will get a real knowledge, a real taste of that actually. Otherwise, we'll be keep talking. That is not the use. There's no use of that. If any person who was involved practically doing all such things, right, I would consider he is a real guy actually. He knows many things. He would have faced the real issue, and he has even resolved that issue also. And he'll also see the practical implementation in the further things, whatever the new upcoming things comes, right? Say, for example, if the customers comes up some other new requirement, then the same person can able to even resolve the other requirements also. Right. So always see that actually I should be involved in some good project, good hands-on I need to do. And plus there has to be a lot of learning in that actually. Then only what happened, right? Your knowledge will increase, sir. Correct, Sanjay?
Yes.
Just speaking there's no use, sir, actually. Speaking, all will speak. A lot of people are there will give a lot of talks on this actually. But practically,
it looks like so many tools need to learn.
Sir, this is the one I told at the very beginning, the first day of our DevOps course. I told that one of the problem with the DevOps is that actually that there are so many tools are there, and the problem with the current time is that actually that somehow they expect a person to know everything. This is the major problem in today's IT world, is that actually when it comes to DevOps and cloud nerd, they expect one person to know everything, and how one person can work on all the tools. Actually, they are also fooling, and we are also fooling. Everyone, each one of us are fooling each other actually.
Yeah,
Because
so that's why we are jack of all and master in none.
exactly, master of none. It's all, that is what they also expect. But the thing is, in interview, okay, oh Rajesh, have you worked on GitLab? Yes, sir. Have you worked on Jenkins? Yes, sir. Do you know about GitHub? I know more, sir. Do you know about Docker? Yeah, I know. Do you know about Kubernetes? I know. Do you know about the monitoring tool like ELK and ELK, Prometheus, Grafana, and what I call Splunk? Yeah, I know. You know about the Python? I know. You know about the cloud? I know. What are the services? Oh, sir, there are some 40 services are there. No. Oh, you know about the Azure? Yeah, you know about all the security related things in Azure. Yeah, I know. Arey Baba, how one person can know everything, sir? Do you think that in these 5-6 years you would have implemented all tools in this project? No, nonsense. We are fooling actually, because we are learning something and we are only with that knowledge we are going. Even they are also fooling us actually, because they don't have that much requirement. Simply they want to know, okay, in future we might get a work on this tool. Oh, we might get this work. So we need a candidate who already know this actually. Arey Baba, give him some time. No, if the person doesn't know anything about that, no, give him some time. He will learn and he will do it. That they don't know to give the time. Oh, they want a ready-made guy who knows everything. This is what happening, sir. And all people, sir, all around the globe, people are behind it. Actually, people are behind. Actually, all people around the world, right? They all are learning everything, sir. Everything. You tell something tomorrow, a new tool, no, people will be behind in learning that. You tell something new technology, people will be learning behind that, because they are in the fear that actually maybe this might also be asked, this might also I should know. Right? Like a lot of people are there like that, like they know about 10, 15 tools, they know it actually. But you see how many tools have actually worked in the real time is, he might say only 2 or 3 tools only have worked, he'll say, effectively. Right? See, I know Docker, I know Kubernetes, sir. I know Jenkins, I know Git, I know Ansible very well. I know Prometheus, Grafana. I know many of the tools I know, sir. I know many of the servers I know, right? But what happened, right? Actually, to be very honest with you, everyone, I have only worked only on one tool thoroughly, that is Jenkins, sir. But if you ask me anything in Docker and Kubernetes, I'll be able to answer it actually. Why only learning? That's all. No practical implementation. Ansible, I know everything. But how much, now what happened when a real-time fellow will catch me and he'll ask me some very, very critical things in Ansible, no, definitely I'll not be able to answer it actually. Because I don't have a practical exposure on that, right? But yeah, if you give me a work now, I will be able to better handle, because I know everything. I know the whole stuff in Ansible, because I put a lot of effort in learning Ansible. So I know about the Ansible working, everything I know. Whatever the question you ask, I'll be able to answer. But any one practical scenario which they are facing issue, if they ask me, definitely my head will spin, sir. I'll not be able to answer it properly, or else I might give some workaround or something. I will bluff him. I'll give some answer to him actually. It is based on my experience. I'll give some answer to him, right? So that's how, sir. People are behind in learning everything. Even we should also be behind like that to learning everything. At least minimum 4 or 5 tools we should learn. 1 or 2 cloud technology we should know, and 1 Python programming we should know, sir. This is what the basic requirement now in today's world now.
Sir, one more thing. Hello.
Yeah, Sadanand.
Yeah, so for SRE interviews as well, so they are looking for most of the DevOps tool, means how CI/CD work, what are the
100%, Sadanand. I have told, I think in my SRE series, no, if you see my SRE series, the first video I have told one thing very clear. SRE is nothing but a person should be expert in DevOps and cloud. And later he will be called as an SRE, sir. And in SRE, in today's world, Sadanand, in today's world, SRE are the person who are doing all automation tasks. You go to any big company, go to the Walmart, go to Misho company, go to Atlassian company, go to LinkedIn company, go to Facebook. What people are doing inside their SREs? They all are doing automation work, sir, using Python. They all are called as SRE only.
Yes, most of the companies are looking that only.
Yes, sir. That is what, sir. Now, SRE, if we say no, you should be expert in DevOps, at least 4 or 5 tools, expert in AWS or expert in Azure, and then you be expert in Python, you become an SRE, sir.
Yes.
Yeah. Simple.
Day by day, technology going in very complicated mode.
Yeah, correct. but can't do help out anything. So this is what is, and they will no doubt they'll give good package to you. But you should be solid with that. Whatever you know, you should be very good with that. If you're very good with that, there is a value for you, sir.
Yeah, that is correct, sir.
Yeah, and I mean that's how they'll screw you. You should not get fear, sir. When any work comes, right, you should not fear. You should pick up that work and you should able to deliver that work. Then it will show your stamina. Oh, this fellow is a very strong fellow. We can rely on him. We can rely on his expertise, right? Otherwise, every person is a DevOps engineer nowadays, right? Everyone are a DevOps engineer, right? What makes a person unique? That actually how he can handle himself, sir. Any complex situation, how we can resolve any complex problems, right? And how we can give a better solution in our upcoming days, right? That is what they're looking for. Then why they're looking for an architect person? Because of this reason. Because the architect can give a solution to any kind of a client's requirement. If anywhere it is stuck, no, he know how to resolve that issue. Maybe he might take 1 or 2 days extra, but he will definitely resolve that issue. So that's how they're looking for, sir. Sure. Thank you, sir. I think, sorry, I took a lot of time. Really sorry. We'll have a confined discussion from next class onwards. Okay. We'll not take this much. Okay. Okay. Oh man, I didn't stop the recording only. God. All it has been recorded. Okay. Let me stop the recording.